Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Vallen, and this is Angel of Vengeance, a mod brought to you by Tamaized. Now, the next class that we have here, the Defender. It's actually, as I said before, a bit of a tank. You can see here I've got different stats here. This is really where the dodge percentage and double strike percentages come into play. Not so much the spell powers, that's typically the previous two classes. And if I go back here, we've got a lot of different things, and it's very, very focused around a shield. In fact, let me go grab one here, and I now have a shield. Oh, what's that? My health is automatically increasing because I'm currently equipping a shield. If I switch this out with the chicken I'm holding in my hand, my hearts go away, but then they come back again. It's basically a mechanic that allows you an extra measure of health just by holding a shield. You are a defender, after all, and you're expected to basically, well, you know, have your shield with you the whole time because you're going to be kind of tanking for the group. So if I go into this and we take a look at this thing here, level 1, you get probably one of the weakest abilities to start with. You basically gain a 5% chance to not take damage upon hit. That's it, a 5% chance. So every 20 hits, you might you might not take a hit. But not to worry. All you need to do is just continue messing around with this. So if you add in your spells, oh wait, look at this. I barely have any. That's because you're pretty much getting a ton of passive abilities. And you are actually a very, very useful person, especially if you can, bestow your abilities in a group atmosphere. Look at this, Invoke Mass, it's here. You can also cast a lot of these different things in an area, which can be really, really helpful. So as we progress on, you then gain the ability to do double strike. And as I was showing you before, there's some stats here. This will basically allow you a 1 in 20 chance of doing double damage, which is always a good thing to have. Every time that you gain 5 more, you gain another chance. So it would be 1 in 10 instead of 1 in 20. Now, if I look at Core 3, while a shield is equipped, you deal more knockback. So let me drop down a zombie here. Just by punching him with this egg, you can see he's being knocked back quite a distance here. And therefore, you are able to kind of have a bit more combat control in an area because you're able to just kind of finish these guys off and keep them off the party, or at least direct them where you want them to be. The next one here, Defender Core 4. You're now able to block all angles with your shield, not just in front of you. That's right. So if I hold this shield up, you see obviously in the front, it's not a big deal. If I switch around from behind me, you can see I am currently having a problem being attacked from all sides. Oh no, that's not a problem. I just hold my shield up. And you think, oh, my shield is going to break, right? No, it's not, because you're a frickin' defender. What I mean by that is, of course, level 5 of the your defender stat here. If you go along this tree line here, shields you have equipped, if damaged, are fully repaired. So therefore, all that damage that happened, my shield is perfectly fine. It did not get affected at all by the zombie attack. Now, you do have some other abilities besides these, which, don't get me wrong, those can make you a very difficult foe to take on as it is. But there's also Aid, which can really be helpful. Aid grants absorption and a +5 bonus to dodge, so another chance to not take damage when something is hitting you. And it grants absorption, so even if they do hit you, therefore you're going to have that added benefit. Let me just cast it there. There you go. We get the extra 2 hearts, and it lasts for 5 minutes. 5 minutes! That's great! And you could feasibly bestow that upon your entire party in an area of effect if you have your this ability turned on here, which is, of course, Invoke Mass. Now, if I continue on, as you see, there are different abilities here. Dodge 1, Dodge 2, Dodge 3, Dodge 4. Each one will add another 5 +5 dodge. Therefore, if you add these up, 5, 10, 15, 20, this would give you total, just from these 4 skills, 1 in 5 chance of not taking damage from any kind of attack. And you can combine that with some of your other abilities that you might gain just in general that might also bestow it in a passive way. For instance, your Aid spell gives you that 5 dodge bonus. You start with a 5 dodge bonus. So it just keeps on going up from there. Now going back, you also gain your Shield of Faith, which it doubles the damage resistance of yourself or a target ally. So if you already have any damage resistance, it's going to double that ability further. So let's do that, and there we go. We now have a Shield of Faith up for another 5 minutes. These skills last a very long time. You're a wonderful asset to any kind of party environment, or at the very least, you're going to be extremely durable by yourself. And next, of course, we have Zeal, which is going to give you a big bonus to double strike, but it only works on yourself. You might be able to bestow this in an area, as before discussed, and of course, boom, let's put that on there. Oh, 2.5 minutes. It's still incredible because it will recharge in just a few seconds. So therefore, if you really want to, you can really start dishing out some extra help or extra damage on your foes, and hopefully get some double hits in there. And as I mentioned before, we always have selective focus here, which allows you to target your benefits on friendlies and your negatives on mobs, bad guys. But let's move on with some other abilities. We've got, of course, Invoke Mass. Stalwart Pact. Upon reaching half or less health, you are granted with Absorption 3 and Regeneration 3 can be cast on yourself or a target, which is excellent. It's a great ability. Therefore, if I bring this up, I cast it on myself, it stays on me for 5 minutes. So if I start really starting to get hit, I have an extra measure of safety and security, allowing me to recover. And as you might have noticed before, when I originally equipped my shield, remember if I switch this out, I had mentioned how that's a special ability. That's Vitality. You gain 5 extra hearts of max health while holding a shield in your offhand. Not a problem at all. And of course I saved the last and most unique one. That is the Astro or Astrologian class. This one is going to be really, really interesting. So the Astrologian class is very unique, and I realize I just said that, but it is. I mean, it's got, if you look in the top right there, that was that big blob that I was talking about earlier when we were moving around things on the mod menu. You could change your config and move some things around. In fact, I'm going to bring it down here so it's a little bit easier for me to focus on. See, there we go. It is now in the front. Basically, you are kind of a fortune teller of sorts that does know a few different magical spells as well, or can learn them at the very least. And you start off with, let me go out into another view so that you guys can better see this. Let's draw a card. You have a deck of cards. And you can see here, I drew the first one. This is balance. It basically will give you a strength effect when used. Now, there are other abilities. If I click this again, I will instantly use that and gain strength for, I don't know, a few seconds, not too long of a period of time. But you can also, extend that or empower it further. For instance, my next ability, Royal Road, will burn that current card and draw and use it to enhance the next card that I use. Not the next card drawn, but the next card used. Which, if I were to, let's say I draw this card here, and therefore I gain this special ability, which is Bowl. It gives me a brief amount of saturation on my hunger bar. It gives me resistance and health boost for a time. Now, if I use this next ability, it will instead burn that. And you can see it just kind of flamed it. And you can see now I have the words 150% potency. So it also, if I, let me change my perspective again. If you look here, down in this area there, where just around the moon, you'll see that there's a different effect. That represents the 150% potency. And if you don't have words turned on for your effect, like in the mod options, Angel of Vengeance configs, you can see that there are render Royal Road text option down here. If you don't have that turned on to true, then you may end up having, a little difficulty in understanding it. But the different icons will change as well. But for the double star in there, you know that you get 150% potency. There are 3 different options for that. And that is going to be the potency of your next card used is going to either be 150%, meaning like if I do 10 hearts of damage with something, it would do 15 instead. And if I did, or it could double the duration of the ability that is used, or it could have the potency of the ability and turn it into an area of effect, therefore giving a greater benefit. Now there are, of course, 6 cards. You've only seen one so far, this one here. Now, before I show you the next card that I can draw, I'm actually going to instead save it for later using the spread ability. So if I were to do this, it then will hold on to that card. And you see that it has now gone into kind of like the smaller card slot on above my hotbar there. That one is going to be saved until I use this spread ability again. So therefore I can use the ability straight away, or I can save it for later. Now I cannot burn it. That is no longer an option. It is either to be used or not. And that is pretty much it. But if I do use it, it will be at 150% potency, which is pretty darn good. Considering that Bowl will give me resistance and health boost, it will give me a greater effect of that. But before we do so, let's actually start drawing another card. Ooh, this one is really good. Ewer is that card. It's E-W-E-R. That one will allow me to recharge all of my abilities that have a charge. So this ability here that has 8 charges, instead of having to go to sleep to recharge it, it will recharge all of my skill abilities. I can also use this on a friendly, so I could feasibly recharge people's effects and abilities in a group, therefore allowing us to press on instead of having to call it for the night to go to bed and reset our abilities. So you can be a very valuable member to the team just from drawing that card alone. But as I let that one expire, I was not able to use it, and my skill reset itself. So there is a certain time limitation to this, but you can really finesse this class to a lot of use. So if I were to use this ability here at 150% potency, let's use it now. It uses it up, and I now have resistance 3 and health boost 2 instead of just resistance 2 and health boost 1. So it's definitely a lot better just by sometimes coordinating those. And of course they went away because their duration was not that long. Draw another card. It wasn't that useful because I've already used this one. I'm going to burn it to increase the next one's effect. And that next one is, oh no, it's the same card. Now, if I were to burn this one, I have a chance of getting that 150% potency. It might also change to one of the other abilities, half potency with an area of effect, or double duration. Or I could just redraw. That's what this next ability is here. And therefore I get an option for another card, which it's really cool that I can I can do that, and the abilities and pictures on this are really impressive. So therefore, I now have this one that's kind of sharp, like shaped like a sun. This one just gives strength, so I can save this one for later, and then I can draw another card when my next reset is ready. Now, I've only been covering cards. That's only a part of your repertoire. You're actually kind of a multi-purpose person. You can also heal, you can do some damage, and it can also be you can affect other people's abilities greatly. You can extend them, enhance them, and so on. So you're the utility role, but you do have the ability to do some other stuff. As you saw, we've had draw, Royal Road, Spread, and Redraw. These are all very key, especially since Draw has 6 different abilities. I haven't shown you all of them, but I will tell you what they all are at this point. One is Spire, which has a couple of lightning bolts together. That gives you a dodge bonus increase. Then, of course, you've got Spear, which will allow you to spam your weapon as often as you want. You don't have to wait for the recharge on something like a wooden axe here to take forever. Instead, you can just keep on swinging, and you'll be doing full damage as if you had maximum recharge on it. And you have a chance of doing double strike bonus. Another one shaped like an arrow with a couple of wind effects on it will give you haste. Then, of course, you have your Ewer, which we saw earlier, which was kind of like a jug of liquid of some sort, will recharge all of your abilities so that you can therefore continue casting without having to go to sleep. Bowl, which we already covered many times, was the tree-shaped one, which gives saturation, resistance, and a health boost. And then the one that I have now, which is Balance. This one gives you a strength boost. And therefore, let's do this. I now have strength 3. I can do some massive damage for a short period of time. Now, I was saying before, you have some other abilities. That is, to start with, Malefic, which there is also Benefic, the opposite of it. Malefic allows you a very, very low damaging ranged attack that is kind of, for lack of a better term, heat seeking or homing. There you go. It is a homing attack. So if I put a zombie in here and I kind of shoot this a little bit off to the side, it curves around and hits him, but for a very limited amount of damage. So therefore, this is something you would want to enhance with a higher spell power in order to do so. And you notice that I still have 150% potency listed on my screen. It didn't do extra damage to him. That's because the 150% potency only works on cards, not on your spells. So therefore, they are different and separate from that. Now, as I said before, you also have Benefic. Benefic will allow you a limited way to heal yourself or others. If you're aiming at an entity, it will heal that entity. If you're aiming at nothing or no other entities, you'll heal yourself. Now, it is for a very limited and low amount of healing, but it can be enhanced, of course, by increasing your spell power. Next up, we have Combust. Combust will do a slow damage over time, like poison. It'll do about, I don't know, somewhere around the neighborhood of 8 hearts total, just it not being enhanced very much at all, if at all. And it will kill enemies, though. So it's similar to poison that will kill if they go below their damage, if it brings them all the way down, if they're low enough on health. And we also have Essential Dignity. This one here is a very strong one-time heal with a longer recharge. There we go. It can be used on other entities or on yourself if you're not targeting one. Then we've got Helios, which allows an area of effect heal without you having to choose area of effect bonus skills. Therefore, if I choose this, we both get healed. Now, of course, there is Aspected Benefic, which is just going to be a better version of Benefic, a single target heal. This one is a single target heal that also grants regeneration for a time. Then you've got Helios and Aspected Helios, which, like before, Aspected means that it grants an extra measure of regeneration, and it also does that area of effect heal that Helios did before. So these are just improved versions that will do more healing and healing over time. Then we've got our last spells here. We've got Gravity, which does an area of effect damage spell that deals less damage for the more mobs it actually hits. But it does do a decent amount of damage in itself. Base damage of 10, so that's like 5 hearts. At a range of up to 25, and you get 8 charges. Now that's, of course, limited. The charges may change depending upon what you chose for your skill set. And then Celestial Opposition. This is an area of effect stun that also grants nearby allies an additional 20 seconds on all of their beneficial effects. And probably my favorite one here, which I haven't covered and is somewhat earlier here in the list, and that's Time Dilation. A single target ability that doubles the duration of all beneficial effects. So if you have, let's say, a defender in your group that is giving people in the party 5-minute beneficial effects, you can then increase that to double. And before doing so, you could feasibly use your other ability to add an extra 20 seconds and then double it. So first, let's try this gravity effect. It's very impressive, and it does a decent amount of damage. As you saw there, it does about 5 points of damage, and it will kill groups of enemies in an area, but it does do less damage when there are more mobs. Of course, you have this other ability that, let's say I choose one of these. I then, let's actually cast this in a moment. If I cast this, you can see I now have saturation, resistance and stuff are all counting down. If I use this other skill, it will add an extra 20 seconds to that, as well as give me some other benefits that I already have going here, which is really good. Then I could always double the remaining amount here with that other spell and increase things even further, giving myself resistance and health boost even longer. If I were to have timed it a little bit better, I could do a lot more. And of course, this will also affect other abilities that you can gain from your cards or any kind of boons that you can get on here. It will definitely help out with any of your beneficial abilities that you have ongoing. Now don't forget that Celestial Opposition also does an area of effect stun. Now it does have an incredible long recharge before that goes away. So it'll be at least a couple minutes before you're able to use it again. And it will stun enemies for a few seconds there so that you can just hopefully finish them off real quickly and not have to worry about anything. So I hope you guys enjoyed this bit by bit on Angel of Vengeance, brought to you by Tamaized, the mod maker of this wonderful mod made for adventuring with your friends and unlocking and learning new skills and abilities. If you did enjoy this, be sure to give a like, comment, subscribe, and as always, be sure to spread the mischief to others if you think they'll enjoy this content too. And until next time, folks, I'll see ya.